What's up, guys? It is Carly here bringing you your Tuesday review on body bags. The week is 256 and today I decided to go with a movie called 420 Massacre. This was a special edition in the horror pack. This is number 21 and it's just been kind of sitting in my collection for a while now because it just seemed like something I wouldn't be in the mood to watch. So I finally checked it out because I thought, I wasn't really in the mood to watch anything too serious tonight, so I thought it would be an interesting one to check out. So this movie takes place over 420 weekend because there is a girl in this group of friends whose birthday happens to be on 420, so they take her out to the woods to celebrate. They go on sort of just a camping adventure with just, tents and things like that out into the middle of the woods, and there they are going to just party and drink and smoke weed and things like that for the weekend just to kind of celebrate her birthday. And while they're up there, there is some sort of maniac who is killing people. So yeah, that is the story there. Pretty generic plot, I will say right off the bat. I just reviewed Just Before Dawn on this channel, and this is yet again another movie that just takes place in the woods where people are camping out in tents in the woods and they just want to party and have fun. And then you also have the typical moments where you have a cop or some crazy person warning the group before they go up there that someone is terrorizing the place and killing people and people aren't coming back and all that stuff. So it is very generic. Just a modern version of all the 80s slashers that take place in the woods, basically. But I don't necessarily think that's an awful thing because that plot is always pretty fun to me. I find it enjoyable even though it's overused and stuff is always stolen and things like that from previous movies. So that's not necessarily a negative, but if you get sick of this same old storyline, it definitely would be a negative. So just gotta say that right off the bat. Another thing about this movie is I feel like it doesn't really know what it wants to be because going into it, just based on the title alone and the back calling it a comedy thriller, I assumed this was going to be a really fun, sort of not serious at all film, very comedic in nature and things like that, but I feel like it tries really hard to kind of be a serious slasher, honestly, which is fine, but when you market it as a comedy and also you're dealing with 420 and marijuana and all that stuff, it just kind of gives sort of an off-putting message, I guess. I looked at IMDb and it's not even listed as a comedy on there, so I don't really know. This movie, it does have some sort of funnier moments, not really funny, laugh out loud funny or anything like that, just some like light-hearted dialogue, I guess, and then of course they're all smoking weed, so they're getting high, so that could be seen as funny. I think the bottom line is this is definitely a stoner type of movie, and I feel like people who smoke regularly would enjoy this a little more than I personally did, so that's just sort of my opinion, I guess. Some positives, I guess. The way the movie's shot is pretty well done, pretty mesmerizing. The color scheme is very beautiful. It's very bright and just very clear and crisp, I guess you can say. So I found just the scenery to be pretty nice. I know some people don't really care about that type of stuff, but for me that sort of matters in a movie. I really pay attention to setting and scenery and how a film is shot, because if it's not shot well too, that kind of takes me out of it. But I thought it was shot pretty professionally, and all that type of stuff was pretty well done. The acting, the actors, they do okay, I guess. I feel like the script is kind of lazy and dialogue is just sort of forced and doesn't really feel realistic, I guess. It doesn't really feel like these people are all friends. You just kind of feel like they're a bunch of actresses who are thrown together to make a movie, which is the case, obviously, but it shouldn't really feel that way, and that's kind of what I get from it. I just don't really get behind them or find them to be all that entertaining or enjoyable, to be completely honest, but I feel like they could have done a better job with a better script, perhaps. For me, I just didn't find it that entertaining, and most of the movie is just based around them. You get like 2 kills towards the beginning, and they're kind of spread out, and then the big climax, it doesn't really take off until the last 10 minutes of the movie, so that's kind of a downer if you don't really like the characters and don't really care about their sub-stories and things like that don't really go anywhere or matter. It just kind of bored me a little bit and took me out of the movie a bit, so all in all, this movie was okay. It was shot well. The person killing them is kind of entertaining. It's basically just this dude dressed up like weed or whatever. So, I mean, that's kind of funny in itself, kind of silly. So, you do have that. Like I said, I feel like if you actually do smoke weed and watch this, you would enjoy it a little bit better. I feel like that's literally what this movie was made for. And, I just personally did not love it all that much. I got kind of just bored by the characters, and it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be at the end of the day, which isn't always a bad thing, but in this case it is, because I thought it was going to be more fun of a movie, but it actually plays itself a little bit serious compared to what I was expecting. So, 420 Massacre, I just give it a 4 out of 10. Like I said, it's got its moments, not shot bad at all or anything like that. It's just wasn't for me, and the acting was just kind of So, yeah, 420 Massacre, 4 out of 10. Thank you guys for joining me for this Tuesday review, and as always, I will see you next week.